Hey guys, this is Bruce, and welcome to Convocourses, where we talk about cybersecurity compliance. And I normally do a podcast once a week about this time, 1 o'clock on Saturdays. I'm going to expand this here real soon, starting probably in June, so stay tuned for that. Today, this is open topics. I'm going to be focusing on some questions that have been sent to me from Facebook, from YouTube, and anywhere else I can find them. So let's get started. All right, so I had a comment / question about working in the government. I get this one every now and then, and this is in regards to working for the government versus working in the private sector as a cybersecurity person, and there's a significant difference in the two. I've done both. It was when I was in the military, I actually did cybersecurity and working directly for the federal government. Then I was a contractor working with the federal government, and then I've also been in the private sector. So I've kind of and done all of these things. And so the comment is, he's talking about a video I did about working for the government versus working in the private sector. He says, it's not bad. I think working in the government is I think government work is bad in the sense that you just become fearful about what if I lose my job, and losing your job isn't that bad. You just gotta put out a few resumes and then go on a vacation, relax, unless you're up to your neck in debt. And also the companies, they'll fire you, and he says, and if you don't want the politics, then you can just say F you and leave, is what he said. So yeah, I would agree with some of what he said as far as working for the government versus working in the private sector. And I would say, like, the biggest difference for me is that if you work directly for the federal government, the job security is way better in the federal government versus private sector. Private sector is pretty volatile. I mean, you've got some big companies out there that will try to take care of you. The pace, I'd say the work pace is a lot faster in the private sector. You get your hands on more stuff in the private sector. And in the public sector, in the federal government, it's more like you do this one job, and then they might add some more stuff to you, but you really just do kind of one job, and you have more job security. If you have a family and stuff, it's probably better to and you don't care about like having a huge paycheck, then probably the federal government's better for you, or any kind of government's better. It's more stable. It's harder for them to fire you. The private sector is a lot more, it's more volatile. It's more, everything's is faster, but you learn more stuff. So it depends on where you're at in your life, or which one you want to do. Overall, which one do I like personally? At different stages of my life, I think that when my kids were small, I think the federal government was better for me. But now that I'm older and wanted to expand my experience a little bit better, the private sector has been way better for me in this stage of my life. So it kind of, for me, this depended on which stage of my life I was in. Overall, I probably prefer the private sector more, as either a contractor or just straight up not even working with the government at all. I prefer it. Personally, I prefer it. Just the government is a little bit too strict. It's too you get in a one path, and that's kind of all you do. Whether it's a GS position or it's in the or if you're working as a as a troop, like if you're a soldier or something, it's just like you just do one thing and that's it. What I really like about the private sector, even contracting, is that you're able to put your hands on more things and kind of expand. That's just my own 2 cents on it. But yeah, whichever one you do is good. Both of them have great experience. The federal government has a really solid experience, and you're talking about not worrying about your job, just putting your head down and just working and grinding. So those are the two differences that I've noticed about the two. Let me see. I've got some other comments, and like I said, guys, if you guys happen to join me, just at any time you can chime in and add some comments or ask questions about any part of cybersecurity, any part of NIST. NIST 800. If I don't have the answer, somebody on this that joins these lives will sometimes have the answer, and they'll expound on whatever the topic is. All right, so Lori asked, I guess she asked, hello, and thank you for your content and your classes on YouTube. Would you mind expanding on the CYSA Plus and what significance the certification offers? Okay, so I don't have this certification, and I don't know much about it, but the source that you want to go to is CompTIA. CompTIA is the one that does this certification. So let's go to CompTIA together here. I can show you somebody who I know personally who took the test, and she has a really long video about the details of it, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But if you want to actually know like what's going on with this certification as far as what you need and what the differences are and all that kind of stuff, here it is right here on CompTIA.org. And this is a Cybersecurity Analyst Plus. It is an IT workforce certification that applies behavioral analytics to network and devices to prevent the detection and combat cybersecurity threats through continuous security monitoring. That's really cool. So it's kind of like a SOC certification that's coming from CompTIA. That's good. GCIA from SANS is probably the biggest organization that does these kind of certs. They have probably the top cert for this, but it's cool that CompTIA is getting into this. Let me see. So let's see. What else does it get into? GCIA, the CISSA Plus, it is certified. It's on the 8570, so the DoD will accept it. So it's not a bad cert. The person who talked to me about it is Epiphany. Here's her YouTube channel right here, and she goes into I think this is like a 24 minutes worth of just talking about how she went in and passed it. So yeah, check out Epiphany. Her YouTube is called Person-Centered Cyber, and just type in that certification and you'll find that particular cert. And she breaks down everything you need. Here's her site right here about that particular cert. She's got multiple videos about it in detail, so go ahead and check it out. Recent ones, by the way. And yep, that's a good place to start if you want to know more about about that cert, CompTIA CYSA Plus. Hope that helps. But yeah, it's looking like a SOC type certification. All right, let me see if there's any other questions here. Somebody asked or stated, I'm currently in school getting my bachelor's degree. I graduate in 2024 in October. Can you give me a few pointers on how to get hired as an intern anywhere? So what I would do, OG, is before you get out of college, before you finish your bachelor's degree, is start getting some, if you can, get some experience now. Because what I've learned in this field is that experience is everything. You know, a lot of people focus on the degree, they focus on the certifications, and that stuff's all good. That's kind of icing on the cake, right? I mean, that's kind of icing on the cake, because what you really want to do is get experience. So if I were you, if given the same, knowing what I know now, if I could go back in time and I wanted to be a cybersecurity person, I would look for experience right now. When you're in school, you can look for experience in your school. Like at the school, volunteer your time to actually help them with the network, help them with the wireless network, help them with, if they're doing cloud stuff, help them with the cloud stuff. If you can, get a job on campus. Sometimes they'll do like this student hiring thing. And if you can get that would be incredible for you to do. You want to get experience before you even get out. I would say when I was in the military, like the one thing the military gave me was experience. When I got out, I had certifications, I had degrees, all that stuff. But the thing is, the first thing you need to focus on is the experience. So before you even get out, try to get experience. Even if you can get an internship before you get out, do that. And so let me show you where you can actually get some internships. If you go to Google, check this out. Google has a search job aggregator built into it. And I don't know when they started doing this, but it's really effective. So if you type in, let's say IT job internship. Right, watch this. So Google comes up with this right here, this little aggregator. It's all I did was type in IT job internship, and it comes up with this little aggregator. That's basically what it's doing is pulling all of these different jobs from all these other search aggregators. So it's like a master search aggregator. So you then take this and try to apply for jobs in your area. You can put them in your area, by the way. That's another thing you want to put in there is like what your area. Let's say you lived in Washington State. And so now it's going to only find IT job internships in that area, wherever you are. This is Washington, D.C. But you get the idea. So that's what I would do is I would apply on campus at whatever school you're at, local places around there, even if they're not going to pay you. Because remember, experience equals money. The more experience you get, the more money that you're going to be that's going to be available to you. So you definitely want to apply for that. So that's what I would do. And then your internships are on, you can go to Google, you can go to Indeed.com, LinkedIn. All of those sites will do the same thing I just did here. All you got to do is put your information in there, and you'll find some internships. But really, even if you can get in for free, especially before 2024 when you graduate, before you graduate, get the experience so you can put it on your resume. Because right now, you want to focus on building out your resume so you can say, yes, I worked at this place. I worked at the College of Mines in Colorado, and I helped them put up their wireless network. And then I also helped them do a physical security check and stuff. And then you want to, if you're trying to do cybersecurity, you want to focus on cybersecurity, like all the security stuff that you did, not just the IT stuff, right? But really, any kind of IT at this point in your career, any kind of IT is good, not just security. Just any kind of IT you could put on your resume. All right, that's that question. Let me see if I can answer another question here. I got one from Facebook, and they said, "Hey Bruce, been following your content for quite some time. I'm really interested in your resume writing and resume marketing, finding a remote job course. I was wondering if you had some sort of package deal for the resume course. Really will have a hard time affording all of them at once. I currently have a bachelor's in IT and currently pursuing my master's in cybersecurity from the university and expect to graduate in May 2022. As far as experience, I have 4 years. Okay, let me just approach this one thing at a time. So the package. Let me just show you guys what I have here, what I'm about to do. So I haven't had a lot of time, but here real soon I'm gonna have a lot of time to focus on Convocourses, and for about a couple months, and then after that I'm not sure. So here are all my courses right here. What I'm about to do here real soon is I'm gonna do some bundles. I'm gonna bundle all of the resume writing courses together. I've got several courses that are talking about how to get in this field, and I'm telling you, these things work. They work because this is the stuff that I do to get jobs very quickly and jobs in the paths that I want with the kind of money I want. So I put all of that into these courses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine all of the ones that talk about getting into cybersecurity, and then I'm going to combine all the ones that are the Risk Management Framework ISSO series. I'm going to put them all together and then do a big discount across the board, so that if you want to, you can buy them all at once, and then I'll start putting more and more content on them, and then of course the price goes up. Like these prices that I have here are pretty low, but I'm even going to slash price. Since you guys are new, like since you guys have been with me, some of you guys have been with me for a long time, I'm going to actually have a discount. So just keep following me. And you'll see all this stuff come up real soon, really, really soon. I'm going to do the bundle and put all this stuff out. So that answers that part of the question. Let me see what else he says. He says, as far as experience, I have almost 4 years of experience, and I started working on the help desk at the university while in school. Then after that, I started working on a help desk job as a defense contractor. Did that for about 2 years. And I got my security clearance at Security Plus. Okay, so this, you already have experience, so it's just a matter of your resume. All right, so see why you want to get the resume course. You have a security clearance, Security Plus certification, and landed a job as an ISSE. Been doing that for 2 years. This role was intensely vulnerability management with Nessus. Took the position to at a lower salary and opportunity for $60,000 a year, which helps, but really I'm looking to raise that when I finish my master's degree. You don't even, at this point, you can make more money, but it depends on where you are. I would have to know where you are, because that depends. Your salary depends a lot on where you are, but we'll talk about that. He says, I was able to pay for school out of pocket and never really had that much more left after for bills. In the next couple of months, I really looking to raise my salary either through a current position or elsewhere. When COVID started, I thought I got an opportunity to work remotely, and I really enjoyed it. Definitely something I would like to do in the near future, especially after seeing you telework in different countries. I've been doing that. Yeah, I've been doing that for years. But let me know what if we can work something out. Yes. Okay. I got the gist of the message here. So he's asking if I can do like a bundle, which I'm gonna do here real soon, to put all of them together, and then I'll include the remote work one, and that's cool. But I want to say, like, he's at a 60,000. He's got about 4 years of experience. 4 years of experience in IT, which is great, and he's already got his foot in the door for doing cybersecurity. So that's really, really good. That's really, really good. That's a great start. So now it's just a matter of tightening up that resume and marketing the hell out of that stuff. This is where my course shines right here. I really know how to market myself. So, and I'm sharing that stuff out with everyone. But one thing I will say is that him making only $60,000 a year at this point, it's a good starting point, by the way. It might have something to do with where he's at, what area. I don't know if he mentioned what area he lives in, but he's mentioned university, Templar University. I don't know where Temple University is, but in the Midwest, certain parts of the Midwest don't pay really well for IT. The cost of living is lower, but if you live in like the DMV area, that's DC, Virginia, Maryland area, they pay a lot more, but the cost of living is super high. So even if you make six figures, it's kind of like everybody makes six figures, there, because it's so expensive. It kind of depends on where you're at, but this is somebody I could really, really help with this. And this is something I'm going to do really soon. So I'll be reaching out to him and many other people. So if you guys are interested in bundles or any of that, that's coming really soon. I just need time to actually do it. My full-time job is like, it's a full-time job. Like I don't have any extra time. Even after work, I'm burned out. So I have not been able to do any of this except on the weekends. Okay. Let me see if I have any other. I don't have that many more questions. But they said, okay, my next one is, somebody said, hi, I came across your YouTube page. I did a training for ISSO and I'm looking for a mentorship. Is this something that you offer? Okay, so this is something that once I have more time, I would love to do this. I would love to do a mentorship. And that's another thing I'm going to expand on for about a couple months when I have time to do it. Right now, while I have my job, which I like my job, but it's just, I don't have any other time. I'm having to pick and choose, right? And then I have a life, like I have a whole life that I have to live. So I don't have time to do both anymore, all three. So now I have to, in June, I'm going to actually start focusing on doing mentorships. I'm just going to try it. I've never done it before. I'm going to offer mentorships. I'm going to offer short-term contracting. I'm going to offer for my services. Like, I'll come to your place. You will do a contract, everything. And then I'll help you I'll offer that to you, and we can work it out. And then another thing is I'm going to do bundles. I'm going to do more courses. I'm actually working on one. I can only do it on the weekends, when I'm off work. But all of that stuff is coming. Mentorships is coming. So just stay tuned. It's going to come around June timeframe, like mid-June, beginning June, something like that. And I'm going to start doing all of that. Mentorships for like your job, like one-on-one with your job to figure out like if you have any questions on interpretation of controls, mentorships on getting in this career field, mentorship, like everything. You know what I mean? I'm just going to try it and we'll see where it goes. All right, let me see. What else do we have here? Somebody said, hi, Bruce. I purchased both of your foundations and documentation. They've been great help as far as my new role. And I have my first meeting with a stakeholder coming up. Okay, I remember this one. I already answered this one a while ago. So this guy took my course. This is crazy. This is amazing. Like, this dude took my course and he got a job doing risk management framework, ISSO work, and then he had his first meeting with the stakeholders, and he asked me, hey, Bruce, like, what do you have any advice on what to do, any recommendations? And essentially I said to listen to the stakeholders. I said that, it's a team effort. Like, whenever you're going forward with managing the risk on a system and fixing the security posture of a system, it's a team effort. It's not just you. When I first started doing this, I would get stressed out because I thought I was kind of looking at it kind of like a cop, because that my background is I used to be a cop in the Air Force. I was a security forces, and when I went into cybersecurity, I kind of approached it that way, and you can't do it like that, because in cybersecurity, it's the organization's responsibility. That's not just you. That means everyone's responsibility to get security right, to get risk, to manage the risk effectively. It's not just you. So make sure, like, when you have your stakeholders, you're working with them to get the documentation that you need, because you're not a subject matter expert on all things. You might have a firewall group. You might have somebody who's an expert on encryption. You might have somebody who's an expert on remote management services, whatever, right? All of these people are coming together to manage the risk, and all you're doing is kind of guiding everybody in the right direction so that they know that there's these security controls that need to be in place. Like, for example, you might have to explain to them, hey, we have these AU controls, and you get with your system administrator to tell them, hey, we're supposed to be monitoring anytime the users misauthenticate. It's supposed to go in the logs, but I'm not seeing that in the logs on our servers, and you would just work with them. It's not your job to force this guy to do this. He has a manager. The organization is going to enforce that guy to do that. You're just giving guidance to the organization to say, here's what we're supposed to be doing. That's it. And another thing that I told him was that you got to be calm. Like, another thing about this career field is it can be very stressful, because you're dealing with all kinds of people. You're not only dealing with all three tiers of the organization, your C-level, your managers, and your operational users, right? You have to manage different people's attitudes. You have to manage their expectations. You're dealing with cybersecurity, which could deal with millions of dollars worth of services, millions of dollars worth of assets, so stress can be a factor. And you get people who panic, people who want to attack you for being the bearer of bad news if the system didn't pass a certification, or if the system is lacking a certain security feature, and now we have to spend 3 months to fix it or whatever, right? So you're the bearer of bad news sometimes. So people want to get mad at you, and it's like, so what I've learned to do is just be calm in every situation. And I've gotten better at it. I still need work for sure, but remain calm. Just realize that it's about the process itself. Don't take it personal, right? And if they take it personal, that's on them. But you don't take it personal as a cybersecurity person, as an ISSO, as a security control assessor. Don't take it personal. This is just a process. You're going through the process just like everyone else. And the process, if it's a good process, it's supposed to be the thing that manages the security. That's what risk management framework is all about. Risk management framework is a process that's supposed to manage the security of the organization's security controls, manage the risk of the organization's security posture. And so that is not something you do by yourself. That's something that everyone in the organization. So don't take things personal. It's a process. Stick with the process and trust your stakeholders. Don't try to write everything yourself because they are the subject matter experts on firewalls, on access control, on auditing, on they're subject matter experts. You need to pluck their brains, pull from them, and that's how you tighten up the security of the system or document the security of the system. It's not just you. Okay, so I think that answers that one. Let me see if there's any other. Let me just now keep in mind as you guys are seeing my comments here. Sometimes it's the first time I'm seeing some of these comments, so just bear with me. Let me see if I can find some good ones here. Thank you for an interview. Okay. Somebody said, thank you. I'm having an interview for an ISSO job tomorrow. This has been extremely helpful. Oh, wow. That's great. Good to know. This one already answered. I'll just and maybe put a reply here. Doing a video on this. Let me see. I also answered this one. And then I'll give her a link to this comment. Reply. Give her a link here. And then also had a YouTuber who I would recommend on this one. Let me see if I can find it again. There it is. Oh, I think I passed it. Okay. Yeah, she was telling me all about this certification, and so I would highly recommend if you're trying to take the CYSA Plus, go ahead and check out her YouTube channel. She has a lot of videos about this. Okay, let me see. What else do I have here? Somebody said, I'm currently in school. Okay, I think I already answered this one too. I'll just like this one. Looking forward to June. Somebody's talking about my mentorship. I get some questions about that from time to time. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is spam stuff. Okay, JP just said, how is it possible for some organizations to hire an ISSO with little or no experience? Is it something you learn as you go? I can give you some examples of people I've worked with who had little or no experience. JP, it really depends on the needs of the organization. Sometimes the organization just needs somebody who is good at documentation, and they don't need somebody with a lot of IT experience. And I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. And anytime I've seen somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience, the person who they bring in will have some sort of documentation experience. They'll have like technical writing experience, but they won't necessarily have an IT background. And so that's what I've seen. And sometimes I've seen another one that I've seen is that the person doesn't have they don't have a lot of IT experience. They have some, and then they have some ISSO experience, but they'll have a security clearance. They'll have a really good security. They'll have a TSSCI or something security experience, means a security classification, or security clearance rather, and then they'll get their foot in the door with just little. And the reason why that is because a TSSCI especially is expensive for the organization. So if they can save money by bringing you in and training you, and they didn't have to pay, I think it's 10 grand or something to get you a security clearance. And it's also a pain because sometimes they'll spend the money to have you have an SBI and they can't get you that clearance, right? But if you already have one, that saves them a lot of time and money, and they could just focus on teaching you IT and doing on-the-job training. And it depends on the job too, because if it's not a really technical job and it's just purely compliance, then they might be able to teach you. They might feel like, well, we can teach this guy, right? I remember when I first got out of the military, I had experience, but they were looking for a CISSP. Like they wanted a CISSP level person, or a person with like 8 years of experience. And I did not have that at the time. So they hired me. I had a security. I said, I have a security. No, at the time I didn't have a security plus. I had a CCNA. I was a very technical dude. I had a CCNA. I had a network plus, an A plus, and a bunch of other technical certifications, like entry level technical experience is what I had. But I did have experience doing some, what we call it at the time was SSAAs, System Security Authorization Agreements. And I had that experience. I knew how to do DITSCAP is what they called it. And so they hired me in and they said, look, we need you to have a CISSP. And so they said, look, we're going to give you 1 year to get one. And then I did it in about a year and a half. And I got a security plus and stuff. So it just depends, JP. Hope that answers your question. Michael Kelly says, is it possible to work 2 ISSO positions at once? Also, do you recommend the CISM or CISSP? Okay, I'll answer the first one. Is it possible to do 2 ISSO positions at once? I don't recommend that at all. I mean, ISSO work, it can be very difficult and very stressful. You're having to do a lot of meetings. Sometimes they're very stressful. It's really too much to take on 2 of them at once. And I would not. Could you probably, if you had a remote job and you had 2 jobs that allowed, like they had enough hours to do that, you probably could. But I would totally not recommend that because it is. Listen, Michael, I'm telling you, man. I'm not saying this as somebody who's just thinking about it. I'm saying this as somebody who's done this. It is a nightmare to do that. It is a nightmare. I did it many years ago. I was remote and I was doing 2 different ISSO type positions. It was so stressful, man. So I did one job. I'll have meetings in one, and then I'd have to jump on a meeting with another one, and then I had 2 different, 3, 4, 5 different packages I was working on. I was working 24/7, even on the weekends. It was ridiculous to get that kind of work. If you're really doing the work, and I was really doing the work, I don't recommend that. The ISSO work is very intense, and the real bad thing is the stress level of it. Because, like I said, if you happen to have 2 good organizations and they're both know about each other or whatever, then you probably, that, and there's no conflict of interest. That's the other thing, right? Because if you have both of them are in the Department of Homeland Security, right, and one's a contract and one's a government, there might be a conflict of interest, and legally you cannot do it. But if you had one that's for retail, well, they wouldn't be for retail because it's risk management framework, but one's for some hospital that has to do some risk management framework stuff, and then one is for aerospace stuff, then you could probably legally, there would be no problem. There's no conflict of interest because they actually ask you that when not your interview, but when you're doing the applications. They'll say, hey, have you worked here before? Are you working directly with this organization or that organ? They'll actually ask you that. So if they're totally different, and then another thing is the when you get hired, they'll say we want you to work X amount of hours and X amount of time frame and all that kind of stuff. They might explicitly deny you from doing that. So it depends on your situation. You could do it. I don't recommend it. I made a lot of money, but it wasn't it. At the time I needed it, but I won't be doing that again. I'll just put it to you that way. And not unless they're both part-time jobs, like part-time. I'm talking about if I had 2 20-hour, both of them were like 10 hours a week, then maybe, maybe. It depends. Okay. Hope that answers. Oh, and the other part of your question is also, do you recommend a CISM or a CISSP? If I had to choose between the two, Michael, I would choose a CISSP, and let me show you why. Let me show you why. So I'm going to go to Indeed.com. You can do this, what I'm about to do with any of this job aggregators. Will do what I'm about to do here. I like Indeed.com. It's just straightforward, easy to understand. It's not a lot of stuff coming up like with like LinkedIn when I'm showing examples. LinkedIn's probably better if you're looking for this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in a CISSP. And what I want you to notice is the amount of jobs. Now, let's look at for all of the United States. Let's not put a specific area if we can, if it'll allow me to not do a specific area. USA. Let me see if it'll just do all the United States. Okay, now look at this. I just typed in CISSP. That's all I typed in. Now, that doesn't take into account your background, experience, what they want you to do, any of that. It's just 23,000 jobs. Now, let's look at CISM. All I'm doing is kind of giving you an idea of the numbers of the industry. When the industry is looking for people with certifications, like what are they looking for? Like who is looking for these certifications? Who is putting this on their job description? That's CISM. So I would choose CISSP, whether you're a manager or whatever. I would get CISM later. Like I would make that secondary. And the reason why, unless there's probably the only exception would be if you're in the financial sector, because they look highly up on the CISM and CISA are highly sought after in the financial sector. But overall, in general, everybody knows what the CISSP is. The DoD is looking for it. It's on their 8140, which is like a workforce, cybersecurity workforce document where they're, it's highly sought after. CISM is also on that document where it's a list of certifications where they say everybody should have one of these certifications, right? It's like a list that the whole federal government uses. But the one that's almost all over the place on this one document, and I'll just show you what I mean. I'll just give you more examples of why I would choose the CISSP. 8140. 8140 is here it is right here. Let me just go to images, and I'll show you what I mean here. And they change this from time to time, so it might look different the next time you look at it. So look at this form right here. This right here is a federal document. All the federal agencies use this, and some state departments use it. And I've even seen some contracting organizations use this document, even though it's exclusively used in the Department of Defense and DISA and federal government. But look at this. So this right here, IAT, this means Information Assurance Technical Level 1. That's like a help desk person. Level 2 is like help desk with a specialization, or like they also do networking or something like that, or maybe they do 2 or 3 different networks. And then level 3 is like your high speed, high level, tier 3 type person who's gonna solve all problems, or an enclave or specialized weapon systems or program management systems, stuff like that. But you notice that this one has CISSP. These are all professional level certs. Let me just kind of break this down. So A+ certifications are entry level certifications. CCNA security, this is an entry level certification. It's not easy, by the way. This is not an easy certification, even though it's an associate. Network Plus easy certification. I've had all of these except for SSCP. I've had these 3 right here, actually. CCNA without the security, because I took it before they added that. Anyway, these are entry level certifications. And then you got tier level 2, which are pretty much the same ones, but they've added a couple certifications. They added a GSEC, which is a SANS course, which is an awesome course, by the way. SAN certification, I should say. And then these are professional level certifications. All of these. CASP, I heard, was super hard. CCNP, ridiculously hard. CISA, this is a professional level certification. CISSP, professional level. Now, where's CISM? Where you see it anywhere on here? You see CISSP, 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 CI. This is why I would recommend CISSP. But you do CISM is on here. You just got to find it. Can you find it? It's like, where's Waldo? Like, you can't. Where is it? Where is CISM? Do you see it? It's like it's right here. It's a management level certification, right? This is like for managers and stuff. So that's why I would personally recommend the CISSP over the CISM, even if you're a manager, because of this reason. Like, it just gives you more options, and it's more highly sought after. It's like a golden standard right now in this current environment that we're in. It might change one day to be the CISM. I don't know. JP says some defense organizations require an IAM level 3, which means, like, exactly. See, what JP is talking about is exactly what I'm showing you right here. He says some IAM level 3, which means that you have a CISM or a CISSP, but as he said, CISSP is more well known and sought after. This man knows what he's talking about. I'm just telling you from the perspective of a security person who's been doing this for a while, just seeing from the inside looking out, right, and the outside looking in. I'm just telling you my perspective on how this stuff works. CISSP, if you're going for a professional level cert for security, there's not many certifications that are going to beat the CISSP. There are a couple, especially if you're going down the rabbit hole of specialization. Like, if you're a network guy, right? The network guys, CISSPs, like, if you're trying to really you're going to focus on network engineering, then you want a CCNP. This one right here. If let's say you're going to be a ethical hacker or a pen tester, then CISSP is not going to be the one you're going to go for. There's several certifications you can go for that. That will probably be OSCP or something like that. Like, it's hard. It's not even on this. I don't think it's on this list, but CEH, I think, would be a better one than if you're just doing pen testing. CISSP is better than CEH, but CEH is probably the one you would probably want to have in addition to the CISP or something else. And then OCP is probably your best bet for that one. Oh man, it depends on what you're trying to, like, if you're trying to go into a specific part of cybersecurity or IT, then there's other professional level certs that kill the CISSP. But in general, it's the golden standard because everybody knows it. It's more marketable. Like, all of your HR people who are writing up some of the job descriptions, by the way, they know what that is. They don't necessarily know what the CISM is, right? So that's why there's only that's not saying it's a bad certification. It's just marketability. CISSP, it wins hands down. All right. So I'm going to keep going. You guys can ask me more questions. I'm going to keep going down my list of comments to see if I apologize in advance for any crazy offensive things that I might see here. I do get some from time to time. Let me see about these comments here. Michael AI, how you doing, man? Oh, if you guys didn't know, I'm gonna start deep diving into my Discord again. I also have gonna bring starting to do more stuff on Facebook. So go check me out on Facebook, a Facebook group I'm starting up. Go ahead, just go to Facebook, type in Convocourses. You'll see my Convocourses page, and join me there for the group. Join it, and then I'm going to start putting more content on there, and we're going to start having meetups on there and things like that. And then also Discord. It's on all the time. That's the great thing about it. So you can just jump on there, and the link is in the description below. You haven't done one in a while. I've been doing these every now and then. I did one last week. This been a little bit shorter. I think what's been happening, Michael, is that it doesn't send out notifications all the time, and this time I messed up on the first one. Probably the only reason you got a notification is because I messed up the first one. I had to delete it and I had to redo it. So that's probably why you got to search. I don't know why it doesn't do notifications better, but let me see. Great info in a nutshell. Become good at translating information to different stakeholders. Let me see which one was this. Okay, I did a video about ISSO communication with technical managers and C-levels. So yeah, in this one I was talking about one of the very important things about cybersecurity, being a cybersecurity professional is communication. It is the most effective skill that you can have. Technical skills, yes, of course you need those. There's baseline things that you really need to have, and but the thing that you really want to focus on is your communication skills, because you're going to be talking to technical people, C-level execs, and things like that. And basically what Leo's saying is great information in a nutshell. Become good at translating information to different stakeholders within the organization. Absolutely true. And then he goes on to say C-level execs. That's your CIO, CEO, things like that. People who run the company, own the company. Business case return on investment is the bottom line, right? So then they're not going to get in the weeds. They just want to focus on just what is the bottom line. Let's make sure that our business is still on track and that we can fulfill our fiduciary responsibility. Managers, he's saying, equal operational effectiveness. That's absolutely right. Operation, like they're thinking about, okay, do I have enough resources? Do I have enough people to do this job? What do we need to do this job more effectively? That's the kind of the mission, the business is what they're focused on, and all that kind of stuff. And then IT, technical lingo. You've got to be able to speak that language. Sometimes when I speak to technical people, I do a little research before I even talk to them. Like if I need to know some stuff about Palo Alto firewall and there's a rule that's messed up or something, I'll actually go on Google and do some research, because I'm not a firewall guy. Right, I don't, it's not something I do every day. But these dudes, they are doing it every day. Their whole language is firewalls, and it's the same thing with networking. If I have to do something for a SIP, I don't do anything with. I'm weak on networking, right? Let's be real about it. I'm weak on it, and now they want me to talk about some call center device for Cisco. Like I don't. I'm gonna have to go to Google. I've never even done any of that stuff. I've never set one up. I've never managed one. I know what SIP is. I have some idea of what it is, but I'm gonna have to do some research just to speak to these guys. So the technical guys, yeah, you have to know the lingo. You have to speak their language. Otherwise, they're gonna keep asking you more and more questions, and they got stuff to do. They don't have time to sit there and teach you things. So you've got to come there with some knowledge. Those are some of the differences in a nutshell, what you need to do to how you communicate with them. So, yeah, I totally agree with them. Let me see. Excellent illustration of the risk framework. Thanks. Man, that's great. Love those compliments. Appreciate y'all. Let me see. Michael says, no Facebook. Sorry, I don't blame you, man. I don't really particularly care for Meta myself. What's your opinion of Meta, by the way, of the metaverse? What's you guys' opinion of the metaverse? What do you guys think while I'm looking at more questions here? What do you guys think? Let me just give my 2 cents while you guys are putting your thoughts together. So I don't like Facebook, okay? And the reason why is because I don't like the way they do privacy. I personally don't put my private stuff on there. I don't think that they're protecting. I believe that they could do more to protect people's information. I kind of like the way iPhone does it. Every organization has their flaws, right? From Google to Facebook they all have problems, because none of these organizations are doing a good job of protecting their users. But what I don't like about Facebook in particular is that they kind of, not only are they using the users as the main commodity, right, to sell things, which is fine. I know that's the deal, but the way that they're doing it is making it so that I just don't think that they're forthcoming about how much information they're giving out and allowing. The way they allow people to farm, they not just allow, right? You could easily farm some information on Google. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Johnny Long. Type in Johnny Long Google, and it will terrify you. It's this Google hacker, and this dude does all kinds of stuff with Google where it's terrifying, right? Johnny Long. I'll just type that up while I'm talking. So anyway, they start farming. They make tools. Facebook makes tools to farm people's information. I just don't think that that's right. Ethically, I don't think that that's the right thing to do. And there's just a lot of things that they do that I don't like, especially with the things that they've done with the election and things like that. They allow a bunch of fake accounts out there, and they weren't really protecting the user. And I just don't think that that's. And you know what? Honestly, a lot of organizations, including Google, my favorite, is they've done some of the same things that Facebook has done, but I think that Facebook has been a little bit more brazen, like a little more in your face about it. They don't really care. It's clear that they don't care. And I can't wait till there's some kind of alternative to what's been going on. I'm trying to find Johnny Long's old site. He has a book out, but he also had a site and I can't remember the name of the site. It's really good. Anyway, I'll just show the book. So is this the book right here? Let me see. Johnny Long, pen testing, Google hacking. Man, why can't I find it? Google Dorks? Is that what it was called? Help me out if you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm looking for Johnny Long's site about hacking using Google. I'm seeing a lot of his work all over the place, but I'm looking for his actual he used to have this old site that broke it all down. But essentially, you have all of these things that you could type in to find passwords, passports. Oh, shit. Yeah, you can find all kinds of stuff with Google. And this is, just like with Facebook, people are voluntarily putting this stuff out there. And it's really just too bad. People just need education. I might do a course about how to protect yourself and stuff on this. But honestly, I'm learning stuff myself about it. So anyway, these are some Google hacks that are really interesting. Oh, look at this. Using Google, you can find different exploits. It's really interesting. I used to be really into this stuff. You can find people with weak server. I probably shouldn't be talking about this. All right, I'm gonna defer. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about something more safe. So Michael says, where can I find that video of you talking about how to communicate with the stakeholders? Oh, okay. Let's do that. Nice and safe. All right, let's see. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Actually, the dude was I've actually done several videos about this one, Michael. I've done several videos about this one because it's so important, right? And I'll continue to do videos about it because it's something that continues to come up in my own career. Yeah, here it is right here. Let me get the name of it. So let's go to YouTube, and it's probably going to be an ad right here. Yep, it's an ad. Anyway, the name of this one is ISSO Communicating with Technical Managers and C-Level. This is it right here. Let me see if I can. See if I can send you this link. I don't know if I don't think I'm logged into the chat. Yeah, anyway, I was saying like what you could do with Google. Oh my God, it's so freaking crazy. Is you could do searches and find web pages that are not secure. And then, in fact, this is how a lot of hackers do it. You know, it's just sad. But yeah, so hackers will use these techniques to find, say, IIS 4.0, right? Nobody should have this. But if you type some of these things in, it can show you not only vulnerable versions of IIS, but also some that weren't set up yet. Like they have default settings. And the reason why that's bad is because default settings means default passwords and things like that. So, yeah, you can find that with Google. All right, I think. Okay, there we go. I just put it in the link there. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, Google. Google hacking is what it's called. Deadly. If you have an organization, you might want to do this to your organization, especially if it's a small company that has a website. You type some of this stuff in. You can do any vulnerability, and then you get the idea after you do this a few times, right? That you can how to find these. There's certain titles that pop up in the website's description that's in the metadata, and so it will find that stuff. And then you can find vulnerable operating systems, vulnerable servers that are out there, vulnerable versions of Apache. And then, you know, if you do this on your own organization, you can then secure it. Like you could say, okay, well, looks like we have IIS 6.0 out there. We better fix that. Or we have, whatever the case is. You can go ahead and turn around and fix that. And there's tons and tons and tons of these types of hacks. There's a lot for use. I might do a whole video about how to find passwords. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. But that's it, guys. I've been talking for about an hour. I'm gonna try to set something else up, but in June, I've got several things coming. Just to kind of recap. I've got bundles coming. I've got mentorships coming. A lot of stuff's coming in June. I need more time to do all that stuff. And right now I'm just between personal life and my job. It's just I can't do it all. But all right, guys, thank you for your questions. Thank you, Michael, JP. Thanks everybody who talked to me, all your questions. I really appreciate